Oh, let me turn down my damn.
And we are live. And we are now live with everybody blowing up my fucking phone.
We're here. We're live. That's
Uh,
my notification. Sorry.
bruh. Bienvenue.
Fellas, we in Paris.
Bienvenue
We
à
in.
Temps de Gare avec mon ami Neotic.
Oui, oui, bonjour. Comment ça va? Ça va bien?
Oui, poupou, pipi, poupou.
We can't even get to the. All right. All right.
Yes, gentlemen.
So we have today's a very special treat. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for checking the boy out. And yeah, see, we're about to get into this review, and let's get right into the news.
Bruh, my
I'm gonna
phone's
send
being
you an
blown
invite.
up. It's being blown up. My phone's being blown up right now. Hold on,
I invited you to the session.
Let me fix something real quick with this.
Yeah, boy.
Because apparently the stream is not displaying any comments. So not that anyone's gonna fucking comment, but in order to promote free speech.
Your Honor, to be fair, he did say it hypothetically.
Speech. Let me see. I'm gonna have to go
Price,
into
the
the fucking
silo doors are open.
shit. Hold on.
Well, fellas, we in Paris.
We are in Paris, and all right. So let's say this. All right. So Nathan, what did you like? You know Woody Allen, right?
Woody Allen, it's a familiar name.
Yeah, he's the director of the of the Thing.
Of the Midnight in Paris?
Yeah.
Oh, The Thing.
Yeah.
Because I know his work from fucking A Rainy Day in New York and Manhattan. It's like it's like a early 80s movie or something like that. Or late 70s. Yeah, but everything else, I wouldn't know.
Okay, cool.
I just know he's old as hell now.
No, yeah, he's an old dude. And apparently, and like, before I get this wrong, Woody Allen has some allegations on him. He has some allegations.
Doesn't every celebrity do?
I don't know. Apparently he had like a sexual abuse thing, but general consensus is that no one has an idea. So he has allegations, and apparently his wife is like his. There's something weird with his wife or whatever.
All right.
Because he's 84.
87?
And the woman is 49, which is not a big deal.
Wow.
I think age gaps are kind of common these days. Really not a huge deal.
From where they're at, yeah, that's not a big deal.
Well, because they're both adults, so it's like whatever. But
yeah, at this point, yeah, they're just they can.
But I don't know. But just so that everything is clear, he got some allegations, and yeah. So, anyways, going forward, attempting to separate the art from the artist. So this movie, right?
Okay. Yes, Midnight in Paris.
Midnight
One of a kind
in Paris. Okay, so what are your thoughts, Nathan, going into it?
Very motivating. Very inspiring.
Motivating in what way?
Motivating when it comes to your not only just writers drive, but also like artistically. and also like whatever situation you're in, no matter like how perplexing it is, it's like you never don't forget what you love
Oh
to
my
do and
God.
what you know even though like when it comes to situations like this, because I can understand what his character is going was what Gil
Gil, the
as his
character.
character is going through.
Yeah, the main
Yeah,
character.
Mr. Wow himself, Owen Wilson.
Yeah, Owen Wilson's
By the
in
way, I
this
was waiting for
bitch.
that line to happen because he said, "Wow, thanks."
Did he does? Oh fuck, he does end up saying it.
Yeah, he says, "Wow, thanks." Like, "Wow, thanks."
Shit. But I'm playing Tony Hawk without like the music on because I don't want to get
Yeah.
copyright. But like, it's fucking weird listening to it with nothing. I wonder if they'll. I wonder if they'll let me like keep streaming and not like copy strike my shit. Because I don't really care. I'm not making any money off this shit anyway. But I'm kind of thinking because it's so eerie playing this game with like no fucking sound. It's just a bunch of the fucking skateboard and
Yeah.
but anyway, so
Yeah, I that was kind of like overall to put it into summary.
okay, it was
And,
very motivating for you, and you could relate to the main character's struggle in the movie between.
Yeah, because like what he's doing, is it really worth it? Yeah, because that's what he his passion is and
Well,
what it is, and he just has like a big barrier.
Yeah,
Because apparently, obviously, the one that he's with, the female he's with, isn't really
supportive
on that, and it's like
artistic and
yeah, and it's kind of because it's kind of like and they're about to get married too, so it's like, well, are you sure you want this? And then is it just kind of puts him on edge, and then and then she kind of like sees it as like a whole fantasy of his that's never gonna happen. And then as I just feel like I didn't know this whole dream world was the one that strikes midnight. I thought it was just all in his head, but it was legitimate. Like it was legitimate until like when they had an agent or someone follow him, and it was an actual time
jump.
Like it's like a time jump or portal he actually went through to like go further back. So I guess it kind of like
it's a fantasy movie for sure.
Obviously, so when he met the Fitzgeralds, I didn't know my boy Tom Hiddleston and the girl Zelda who plays in Scott Pilgrim was in there. I was like, holy shit, what, they play the Fitzgeralds?
And for anyone that doesn't know, basically the plot is there's this guy named Gil Pender. He has a job in Hollywood where he's a script writer, and he kind of feels like he's kind of like a hack, because he never gave real literature and real writing a chance. And he, in his spare time, he's been kind of working at this novel, and that's basically where his passion lies. It's his passion project, but he has this wife who isn't very supportive of his sort of his passion project. She sees it kind of as like, well, you're this. Everyone in Hollywood loves your scripts. They love your movies and stuff like that. So why even like torture yourself over this, over this like lost passion that you never really gave writing a shot. You know what I mean? And Gil has this sort of existential crisis a little bit. If you would call it that. I don't know if I might be saying the wrong word, but he has a crisis nonetheless within himself, where he feels like a hack. He feels like he never gave what he truly wanted to do a chance. Sure, he kind of did around the same field with script writing, but that's not where his love is. And he even talks about in the movie, he talks about like scripts that he's written that's like, it was just fucking trash. I just did it for the money. It's not where his heart is. But everyone in his wife's family and stuff like that, they're very, well, he's making money with this script writing thing, so I don't see what the big problem is. Basically they just don't understand Gil's fucking artistic sort of leanings in terms of literature and stuff like that. And so in the movie, Gil and his wife Inez and Inez's family are in Paris. They never says what the reason is. They're just there before it's before they get married. And this whole time, I guess Gil is just having this crisis within himself of like, man, I should work on this book. You know, this is what I really want to do. This is where my passion is at. But to work on the book would be to sacrifice time from what really brings in the bucks, which is the script writing. And he even makes multiple remarks about moving into Paris and to saying, you know what, fuck the house in Malibu, the huge pool, fuck all that shit. You know what, I'd be much happier, much more content with myself as an artist to live in a small attic in Paris. You know, he's kind of has this idealized version of what he could be if he lived in Paris and, you know, if he let himself be this artist that he feels like he can be, if he let himself be this writer. And of course, all of this is to the dismay of his wife, or his fiance, I should say, and his fiance's family, because they're all very like, this dude's kind of fucking crazy. Like, he's gonna throw away all this shit just to go live like a peasant in fucking a tiny ass home in France. Like, what the fuck is his deal?
Yeah, that looks nice, baby. And you can really see that he's obviously really trying with his relationship because he wants to prove a lot to her, especially her side of the family, which are kind of hard asses, which sucks. So it, you know, and it just shows, because it also shows parallels on how Scott Fitzgerald went through with his wife.
Yeah, because
it's like, you know,
I didn't get to mention that.
Yeah, and it's like really, yeah, and he really addresses it, and it's like, you know, it's really different in the modern world, and it's like, hey, I do love her, and it's like, you know, and obviously you can tell this guy's not happy because she's kind of holding the back on it and has so much doubt, and it's like, yeah, you know, because she's settling in for what he does, which is like a minimum, but he wants to do more, and she doesn't like get that, which is kind of,
she's not,
kind of sucks.
His fiance is not very supportive.
Yeah, she's not very like artistically inclined as much as he is, and it's like, holy shit, that sucks.
I think she's just more attracted to the sort of the glitz and the glamour of it, because her folks are like, and this is a little bit of like reading in between the lines, but in the movie, Gil's fiance's parents are very like, they're very aristocratic. They're very sort of like that higher class of people. They see like all this stuff as kind of like beneath them, you know what I mean? And so whenever Gil ends up going on this fantastical like thing where he ends up going to Paris in the 1920s, when he, you know, finds himself being miraculously like teleported there, and he meets all of his literary heroes like Fitzgerald and Ernest Hemingway, all the guys from the Lost Generation who lived in Paris at the time, he kind of starts to find his people, you know what I mean? He finds that this is what he wants to be. He wants to be in that class of artists who went to Paris to sort of be free and expressive and you know, find out who they truly are as artists and immerse themselves in their own art and their own circles, basically. And so that's basically the big problem that Gil, I keep saying Jill, that Gil faces, because he has to grapple within himself two worlds, and in the movie he has to grapple with two literal time periods, the current day and the time of the 20s. And I could go into the history of the Lost Generation, because I know a lot about it. That's my favorite. That's my favorite.
My boy was
generation.
in the Roaring '20s era, right?
Yeah, Roaring '20s, because that was when that whole thing was going. Because basically, I don't know, Nate, I don't know if you want me to go off, Nathan. I have like
No, go ahead.
I have a romance with this period. I love this period so much. Fitzgerald's one of my favorite writers. I was telling Nathan earlier, before, like a couple days ago, that I have like a full ass book of all of not Great Gatsby, fucking Fitzgerald's writings. I have a fat ass book. It cost me like $20 at fucking Barnes and Nobles. They overpriced me most definitely, but it was worth it. I have it on my shelf right now. I was reading it. I think I was reading Fitzgerald's book, The Beautiful and the Damned, which is like a kind of like a fiction story that he kind of wrote based on his own life of sort of like a marriage that goes downhill. Because, and here's where the history part, I'll go into my history fucking thing, especially of Fitzgerald. So Fitzgerald had this wife, right? And this is not even related to the movie. It's just, this is a character that Gil idolizes, and in the movie he makes an appearance because he was a part of the Lost Generation.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
so close. And So Fitzgerald, F. Scott Fitzgerald, author of the book Great Gatsby, he was one of these writers who went to Paris after the First World War, because I mean, you got to understand that for those people who were a part of the First World War, because back then, if you were 18, you know you had to go or whatever. It was seen as unmanly if you didn't go, especially since this war was the first of its kind, the First World War. Because that was the first time the Gatling gun showed up. That's the first time people were really fighting with automatic weapons and killing each other on a mass scale. That's the first time, I don't know about this, but I know it was one of the first times they were using chemical warfare, like with the gas attacks in the trenches. And so
Yeah.
you have these people who go to war and they see all these fucking horrors, like in terms of Ernest Hemingway, who is another character that Gil meets in his journey. Ernest Hemingway, he initially signed up in the army as like a medical aid kind of. I think it was the Red Cross or something, and so he would go in and sort of like he would see all the terrible shit that was happening, like people losing fucking arms and getting their faces blasted off and shit like that, and deep in the trenches or whatever. He was basically like a medical aid, and he was like first responder, so he saw all that shit. And despite all that, people who like participate in the war, their fucking worlds were shaken because again, no one had ever seen a war on this scale. It was the First World War. It was called the Great War back then, before they realized there was going to be a sequel. And so to go to war, right, and then to win the war and to come back to America where everyone's fucking partying, all the civilians who didn't go were like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, we won and shit like that. But you have these people who survived the war. They're so fucking scarred from it, and they're so disillusioned with like the party and the celebration. Because it's like, what the fuck are you celebrating? A piece of us died in that war. Like now we're forever changed because we can't unsee the horrors of war. It was so fucking traumatizing to them, and it changed their whole lives. So a lot of them became very disillusioned with their lives in America. Because what the fuck are you supposed to do? You go to war, you see all these fucking horrors, and now you got to go back and fucking live regular life, be lawyers and shit like that. In the case of Archibald MacLeish, who they didn't show Archibald MacLeish, but he's another Lost Generation writer. Archibald MacLeish's story was that he came back from the war to be a lawyer, but then you realize that fuck this shit, I have to do something more. And a lot of people who are artistically inclined found themselves drawn to Paris. A lot of artistically inclined people, mostly Americans, or fuck, I don't know if it's American. Shit, I should stop making fucking assumptions like that. It's been a while, but I know a good deal about this subject. But a lot of people went to Paris in order for this big escape, because after the war, Paris was kind of like seen as this place to go and immerse yourselves with, you know, creatives and stuff like that. So you see a lot of people showing up there, like Picasso, like Rock, like Modigliani, and then you have the writers, like, you know, F. Scott and Ernest Hemingway, and then you have the people who would like to just surround themselves with these artistic people, like Gertrude Stein, and editors like Maxwell. What the fuck is his name? Fuck, what's his name? I forgot his name. Maxwell something. He was a good editor back in those days. Like he edited a lot of F. Scott Fitzgerald's works before he got it published. Fuck, what's his name? Maxwell something. I forgot his name. Fuck. I want to say Maxwell Weber. I don't know. But anyway, to make a long fucking speech about history short, basically, all these people ended up in Paris in the 20s, and it was a sort of like an age where they fucking partied, and they had a shit ton of affairs, lots of sex, lots of drugs, lots of alcohol. I guess whatever drugs they had back then. And it was a carefree place. It was almost like
his name was William Maxwell.
Was it
Perkins?
Yeah, Max Perkins. That's his fucking name. Thank you. You're gonna be my fucking Jamie. Jamie Olsen. The fucking dude from the Joe Rogan podcast. Hey Jamie, can you pull up the video of the two dogs fucking each other?
I'm gonna have to.
Fucking dumbass Joe Rogan. But yeah, Maxwell Perkins.
Okay.
But it was a fucking hub of all these artistic people, and that's why I look up to that shit, and I love that, because it's painters, it's writers, it's poets, it's avant-garde people who are trying to break the norms. Because you see Dada, and we talked about Dada
Mm-hmm.
one time on the podcast, but you see Dada come into play in that same time, and it's all these people who were just they were able to be cool with each other. You know what I mean? They were able to be like buddies and shit like that, even though they were doing different forms of art. And I would like to sort of replicate that now, which is what I'm trying to do anyway. Like, I don't know, Nathan, if we've talked about our friend group, but basically all of our friend group
Yeah.
is like just a bunch of people who are artistically inclined, mostly musical, but like you, Nathan, you do your like your film shit. Ronan does his graphic art shit. You know, we have a bunch of different artistically inclined people, but I think the environment that creates is just like, I don't know. It's beneficial to everybody because everyone is so into art and into different kinds of art and open-minded about things. But I see our little group, not to be narcissistic, but I see our group as like a kind of like a piece of that, you know, a piece of the lost generation. Because we're these people, and again, I don't want to sound like I'm tooting my own horn here, tooting our own horn as a friend group, but I truly do sometimes see us as like, you know, people who can like get together and talk about different things, even though like we're not making it. You know, I make punk rock and hardcore and stuff like that, and in Tides we make like post-punk, new wave, whatever the hell you want to call it. But we can still get together and fucking, that car fucking hit the shit out of me. But we can still get together and like find ourselves on the same page, and I think that same principle was found in the Lost Generation with the surrealists, the cubists, the fucking writers, the poets, all that shit. That being
Well,
said,
like
go
Marion
ahead.
Cotillard's character really spoke to me when she said something that there's an art in all of us. There's an art and love in all of us.
What the fuck's her name?
So that's why oh my god.
Adriana, there we go.
Adriana, yeah.
Yeah, because she
and
plays
she
the love
had
interest.
She looked at it in a wider perspective, because she was going through what Gil was going through. She wanted to go back into like the fucking
1890s.
1890s times.
Yeah, because she said,
and
fuck the 20s, this shit's boring. Let me go to the 1820s.
Yeah, and then when she said, so I thought that was really nice how they ended in good terms, and that that there's an art in all of us, and I don't know how it, because it was really weird how they played it time wise, how they, you know, because I thought she was messing with the timeline.
What do you mean? Like that she was
she had a book about him when she had someone translate it for him.
Yeah. Oh, well, basically, the way that because I've seen the movie fucking countless times, so I kind of have, like, if not a memorization, basically, the mechanics of the movie, and they don't go really into the mechanics, it's more of like the science fiction of the movie is more of like a backdrop to the story, but basically, it's basically like a time jump, I guess. I mean, or time like goes back in time with this car at midnight, and so I guess there's something magical about midnight or whatever in Paris, and so when Gil goes back in time, at midnight, the old-timey car pulls up and he gets in and he slides through time. I think that's basically what's going on with what the fuck's her name, Adriana, when she says, you know, fuck this, I'm gonna go to the 1890s. I think basically the time jump, like, it fits to the person's need or whatever, because before Gil goes back in time, he's always talking about, oh, the 20s this, the 20s that, you know, it was a lot better than now. And then before Adriana goes back in time, she's always like, oh, yeah, the 20s is, like, you know, stupid or whatever. You know, I want to go back to the turn of the century, the 1890s and shit like that. So I think...
Yeah, and then she had a thing that... The same thing for her, just like Gil did.
Gil did age thinking, that's what the fucking dude... Yo,
yeah.
Fuck that guy. I hated that guy. That guy's so fucking annoying. The guy who is kind of like I guess the anti-Gil or whatever, because he's all like fucking like pretentious and shit like that. He's like, oh well, you know, actually, you know, this and that about this and that, and fucking Gil's wife is, or Gil's fiance is all fucking over him and shit like that because he's so smart and so romantic. I hated that fucking guy.
Yeah.
The actor was really good, but I fucking hated the
Yeah.
character. I
You
was
can
like, oh
obviously
my.
tell that they didn't have chemistry. I was like,
No, yeah,
this isn't wrong.
Gil and his fiance from like the start of the movie, the opening lines, you can tell that there's like different there's different goals. Because Gil's going on about how he would love to move to Paris or Versailles or whatever. And Inez is like, yeah, it's a fantasy though, you know? Like she tells him that all that shit's a fantasy and like why even bother? And a lot of time or many times in the movie she goes off about why would you want to give up your life in Malibu, this easy life, I guess in Gil's eyes a non-artistic life. Why would you give that up to struggle in Paris to be this like authentic poet or authentic writer or whatever? So from the get-go it's clear that their values are different. I don't think Inez is a very artistically inclined person, which is like whatever, just because you're not an artistically inclined person doesn't make you a bad person. But in the movie they're at odds, and she is more inclined, at least from the movie's perspective, she is more drawn to sort of like the pseudo intellectual, the sort of like the know-it-all, you know what I mean, which is what this guy is. What the fuck's his name? Paul. There we go. Paul's character basically is. And so spoiler alert, but really doesn't, you know, you see it coming. Paul ends up stealing Inez from Gil. He steals his wife, but at the end of the day, Gil figures out that they're not supposed to be together anyway. So like he confronts her. He's like, "Hey, I know you've been messing around with that guy Paul." And at first she denies it, and then he gets right down to it. He's like, "Bro, you can't, like, it's not a big deal. We're not supposed to be together." He realizes who he is in himself, and he realizes kind of what he's been doing, that he's been selling himself short by marrying being engaged to a woman he doesn't love and living a life that he doesn't love. So at the end of the movie, he ends up leaving his fiance. He's like, all right, fuck this, I'm gonna stay in Paris. And I guess he makes the decision to stay in Paris and become a writer and like say fuck all the movie scripts in Malibu and fuck all that. Fuck the life that I used to have. I'm gonna live artistic.
He gets the homie
Oh yeah,
Leah's character.
Lei Seydoux.
Lei
Or
Seydoux.
Seydoux. Yeah. Is it Seydoux? Because her name, last name is spelled like the Tale of Despero. Despero Seydoux. I guess.
It's very French.
Fucking French, bro. Come on,
But yeah,
France.
it turns out that he finally came across a female that likes the rain, because I know his
Oh yeah, that's a big
GF
thing
or
for him.
fiance. Yeah.
Yeah, in every instance, they're like opposites, because Jill and his fiance Inez will fucking argue about like the movie's giving you hints that they're not supposed to be together, because Jill is all fucking geeked about the fucking rain in Paris, and that Paris in the rain is the most beautiful, and Inez is like, oh, it's fucking, what's so cool about getting wet? You know, you get fucking dirty, it's all this and that, and like, you know, what's the big deal? I don't understand.
Yeah, and what I didn't like, that she really relied on her parents for like their decisions and stuff.
Oh yeah,
like
because
she like
yeah.
And that's kind of whack. Like,
Yeah.
you can't let them decide for themselves as adults and stuff.
Yeah, because
I don't know, you can tell that she's like that, not valley girl, like definitely like that.
Well, she's like privileged, most definitely. I think they all are.
Kind of.
Because they're able to go to France and shit like that, and her father's like a Republican.
Yeah, they see it. They see it as
something.
a vacation. Yeah, they see it as a vacation, whereas he sees it with more like with intimacy. You know.
Yeah, which is the way that I see it. I don't know. I've said for a long time that I'd like to go to France and just kind of live there for a little bit. I think more realistically, I'm gonna end up visiting. I'm thinking I'm gonna visit once this Corona shit is over. Because as soon as this Corona shit is over, I'm dipping out. I'm getting my passport, and I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna see what it's about, you know. And it's not just like because I'm a real big fan of like the Lost Generation, but just I think for whatever reason, and I think this is what the Lost Generation people were on about. Like they found this sort of energy about Paris, and I guess about Europe as a whole. There is like this sort of, I don't know, there's something there, and it's unexplainable, but it's deeply relatable to any artist, you know, without words. So I don't know, as soon as it's over, I'm dipping. That's my plan, you know. I got
Yeah.
I have an extended line on my credit card, and you know, I'm gonna do it. But outside of that, because also I don't know if you knew this, Nathan, but like, um, that's where Jim Morrison died. Jim Morrison died in Paris because Jim Morrison of the
Did he
Doors
die in
was on the
Paris?
yeah, he was on the same shit. Because the thing with Jim Morrison was that, and he kind of felt like Gil does in the movie, which is like odd. It's like a weird coincidence. I don't know if Woody Allen like planned that shit out or, but anyway, the story goes with Jim Morrison is that, you know, when the keyboardist Ray Manzarek in the Doors, when Ray met Jim Morrison the first, he met him in like a film class, and he describes.
Oh, he did die in Paris, France.
Yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
he describes this like really artsy, poetic guy, this very deep and very sort of, you know, art interested person, and then, you know, with the Doors' success and stuff like that, with like their huge fucking skyrocket to rock star status, Jim Morrison's kind of like, he's not really taken by all that because he's like, yeah, I'm a rock star now, but what the fuck does that mean? You know, he considered himself a poet first, then a rock star, you know, and so, you know, unfortunately, near the end of his life. Because he died prematurely. He died at 27. But like one of the last things he did is he moved to Paris after they finished recording their last album, L.A. Woman, in I think 1970 or 19. It was early 70s, I think. I think it was 1970, if I'm correct. I don't know. I love that album, so I'd be fucking doing myself a disservice if I didn't know what year it came out in. But Jim Morrison was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to Paris, and once I get there, I'm gonna say goodbye to all this rock star shit. I'm just gonna take a minute off, you know, and find myself and be a real poet like how I've always been, and really embrace it.
First place. Let's get it. Yeah.
Dang, you know, let's go Nathan, bro. You're really killing it this session. I'm really just like vibing. I'm not really like paying attention. But bro, you're killing it. But yeah, Jim Morrison.
Appreciate it.
He left and he told his friends, "Hey, I'm gonna go to Paris. I'm gonna start working on my poems and try and see if I can be a real poet." And unfortunately, that's where he died. He, I think, it's still a little unknown, or at least unknown to me, how he died. They found him, his girlfriend, longtime girlfriend.
Apparently.
Yeah, found him in the tub because he had taken a bath after, I guess they were taking drugs or whatever. I don't know what drugs, maybe heroin, maybe cocaine. I forget what it was, but basically, whenever his girlfriend woke up from their drug-induced whatever, she found him in the tub, and he was like dead, like he had already dead. But the problem was,
apparently he was cardiac arrest. That's quote what the death was.
The death certificate. Oh, so it was something to do with his heart. Well, either way, I remember there being like a sort of like there's trouble.
But here's the thing: they never found any drugs in his system.
Oh, they didn't.
No.
Nope. One fucking thing that I saw apparently. I'm gonna have to fucking comment, hey, you know, you got that really wrong, and so you should probably fix your sources. And because my friend Nathan said.
So Neotic, you know that YouTuber? Yeah.
The famous YouTuber, you know, he said this other thing, so you should probably fix it. And you're wrong.
Filmmaker, voice actor, manga artist. Yeah, he's
Filmmaker,
manga maker.
Ironmonger from Iron Man, you know, yeah. Obadiah Stane, that guy, yeah. He told me that you were wrong, so fuck you, and also give me my money back and eat my ass.
Yeah. All I know is it just says it's unclear.
Yeah, from the same source that I got this shit. It was like a TV show that was like the 27 Club or whatever. It talked about Sid Vicious. It talked about Jimi Hendrix. It talked about Jim Morrison. Ooh. But basically, yeah, the homie Sid Vicious. That was a crazy one. But basically, I guess like the people who were doing like the autopsy or like first people on the scene to like determine the time of death or whatever, they had a hard time determining when this dude fucking died because he was taking a hot bath. So, I guess. And again, going off of the same logic that these people were talking about, apparently when you have to when you have to say fucking like a time of death, I think it has something to do with like your body temperature and how it drops when you're dead. So I guess they use that to calculate when exactly you died. But since Jim Morrison was in a hot bath, they couldn't figure it out because his body was still warm. Like it was heated up by the warm water, even though he was dead. But anyways, so I've always found Paris to be an alluring place, I guess, creatively, because there has to be something there. Because fucking all these, the Lost Generation people there, they felt it most definitely. Jim Morrison felt it. So maybe there might be something out there for me, and I kind of feel a little. I feel like.
I guess they find yourself.
Well, yeah. I feel like I might be going through what Jim Morrison might be going. Not to say that I'm fucking a superstar, but just in terms of like, I feel like I've never really given writing a chance, and it's something that I've always done since I was little. You know, I've always wanted to write stories and shit like that. You know, so I always figure, well, maybe if I went to Paris, you know, I'll actually like focus on this book that I've been writing, and like I have a bunch of other projects that I never got to just because I don't really set time for writing. I'm usually doing music, which is fine. I'm not really complaining about it. But I would like to, and I've said a couple times, like, this is the last album that I'm doing, and then I'm taking a break to write. It never fucking happens because, as soon as one album stops, I feel the need to do another one just because it's a part of me at this point,
Yeah.
Yeah, like I have to be writing music, just because it's just something that comes naturally to me, and it's something that's like, it's just a part of me as much as like breathing is a part of me. I don't know, Nathan. Do you share the same feelings of sort of I haven't given like because you do film, right? You're a big
not at Paris, but I definitely would like to go just because of the culture, because obviously for the art, but for that level of intimacy, probably not. I couldn't relate, but
okay. So
it's got to be
like
Japan.
Bruh, there he goes.
Japan is like, I don't know. They have so much artistry there that defies.
Japan is your Paris, basically. In
Yeah,
terms of, like,
I don't know. I have to. I guess that's for me to find out. I'm not sure. I have to go on my own endeavor to come that.
Well, but at least
I can't go by what like every artist is like, how they perceived it like as Paris. I mean, I have to like figure it out myself. I have to do more research then, because that does make me question. But I just feel like we're born with something. Might as well embrace it where we are and what we're good at, and
I get that.
To learn who we are as a person.
I'm saying I think
than just art.
At least for me, there's something about Paris, because even before I found out about all this shit, I always had an interest in something like that, like in France and stuff like that. I thought French was cool, so I took it in high school up until I fucking said, fuck this shit's too hard, and never went back to it. So now I'm like trying to self-teach myself.
Yeah, I stopped at French too.
Yeah, it was just fucking hard, and like I wasn't into it like how I was now. I wasn't able to like find myself in it. Of course, now I kind of do with artists like Manu Chao and stuff like that, where he has a couple of French songs and all the Lost Generation and Jim Morrison and all this shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I found myself in it, but like I'm saying, do you like? Is there anything that like, where like you feel like you wish you could like just devote time to instead of like doing like, let's say, like music shit? You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Because like, yeah, I'm saying like, do you relate in the way that I
music
do, in terms of like, oh, I just want to stop doing music for a little bit and focus on like like for you, focus on film.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. There's has to be some sort of motive that makes me want to kick that drive in somewhere.
Well, the problem is that
I know
takes
it's
time.
not music. Yeah, I know it's not music. It's definitely, I don't know, it has to be my own artistry when it comes to, because I was definitely into Stanislavski.
Okay, so more acting would be like your thing of like, you know what, I'm done.
Yeah, of expression and interpretation.
No,
interpreting, no different.
It's very sick. Like when we learned about that in class, I think it was like it was like a light bulb moment for me, and it's like fucking. It's the first thing you learn, but I understand why it's the first thing you learn. It's just fucking like to even think that people
Yeah.
did other things other than Stanislavski. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, because impersonating, that's what illuminates, not only a story, but it's also a way of, like, just like you like writing, it's another way of writing in my way, you know what I mean?
Well, even like fuck all the
Like,
impersonating, but like living what you're acting. That's it's
oh, yeah.
crazy. It's crazy to think that
Because you're
people
making
did it
that
any other way.
happen, like, yeah, because you're making that happen. You're illuminating something that's to your own, interpretation when it
Fuck,
comes to that
I
art.
suck
And
this fucking game. I'm starting to hate this fucking game, but continue.
yeah, because it's all, actors are also like artists when it comes to like making,
Oh yeah, most
their own
definitely.
alter. Oh, what the hell is that?
They tell a story through their bodies, through their voice, through
Yeah, they illuminate like the essence of that character, and it's really amazing how, like, dude, he made that happen. Heath Ledger made that happen.
Yeah.
And it's really wild, and I've always liked that growing up, and even if it's voice acting, like I like that.
Yeah, it's still telling a story through just your body, through your voice, through
Yeah, and like, cause me and my cousin, when we were 13, when we listened to Jim Morrison's like poetry, I was like, that's crazy. And at the
tasty.
time, I didn't know that he was like, I was just discovering that he's in a band.
Yeah.
And it was the Doors, and I saw the movie The Doors when I was like 14, 15. I was like, holy shit.
Apparently they don't like
That's
that
the guy
movie.
that did poetry. I mean, I liked it. That's what Val Kilmer. I think Val Kilmer was really good.
Yeah.
At the time, that was like the '90s era of the actors.
Apparently the guys in the Doors don't like that movie. Like Ray Manzarek has been like, yeah, fuck that shit. That
Yeah.
shit's
So one day, I aspired to do something like that one day, and it also like creating that to happen, especially with filmmaking, and I think that would be awesome.
I mean,
Whether it's animation or also like
I'm saying you can do
and-
that now. I mean, you do it kind of like in a soft way, like now with like voiceovering fucking memes.
Oh, just like my shit posting.
I said there's ways you can still do it now. Like I know you can maybe be like a Fiverr artist or whatever. You know what I mean? Those people that you pay like a certain amount to do a certain skill for you. You know what I mean? I've thought about doing that with
Yeah.
like music. Like, hey, fucking send me the tabs and I'll play it or whatever. And then you can just get paid. But still, it's like more experience under your table because you can put on there, hey, you're developing a game, you're developing whatever the fuck, a short animation, any indie project, hit me up. I do voice acting.
Yeah.
I think there's still ways you can do that even now.
Yeah, I sell myself a lot in it, and there's a lot of opportunities on the door. Just
Yeah,
a matter
you
of
go
having the
for it.
time for it.
That's the thing,
Yeah.
yeah, which is why I say, I'd like to, at some point, be like, you know what, I'm done with the music for right now. I'm done with all this shit. I just want to write and focus on that and really put my all into it,
Yeah.
Because not that,
Yeah, watching that film, it kind of like,
Yeah.
and then again, it woke me up.
But yeah, it makes you fucking like energized, and like every time I watch the film, I'm like, fuck, what the fuck am I doing? I have to write. What the fuck am I like messing around, fucking just laying in bed and fucking not doing anything? I need to get some shit going.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a funny story behind how I found that movie as well. Because I found that movie on accident. Midnight in Paris is one of the movies that I found like at like 3 a.m. Fucking like I was sick as fuck. Oh my god. So me, my brother Ivan, and my friend Riley, we had gone to San Antonio. I think we had gone with Riley's grandparents or some shit.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I had gotten super fucking sick over there. Like I was doing all kinds of crazy shit, bro. Like I used to do this thing where like I would go across the street because we were staying at this hotel, and across the street was like a Shell. And what I would do is I would go across the street to fucking get a can of Campbell's soup, and like how every hotel has like a coffee maker, right?
Yeah.
Well, basically, what I would do is I would heat up the fucking I would heat up the fucking chicken noodle soup in the coffee maker. Like I would take out all of the noodles, all the fucking, I guess, like carrots and whatever the chicken in there, and I would run it through the coffee maker. And like that's how I would heat it up. Of course, I wouldn't advise you do that because you, more often than not, you clog the coffee maker and you end up getting fined for it. So don't do that. But for me, at that point, it worked.
Yeah.
Luckily, it worked. But I was sick as fuck, dude. I had like a fever. I had chills. I was not having a good time. And like Riley and Ivan had gone to sleep. There's 2 beds. I think I was sleeping with Ivan or Riley. I remember we switched. Like one person would have the bed for themselves one night, the next night the other person, so on. So I was sick as fuck. I couldn't go to sleep because you can never go to sleep when you have the fucking like when you're sniffing and fucking like having to swallow mucus and shit like that. You're just fucking annoyed. You just don't like it. You're not comfortable enough to sleep. Yeah, you're not comfortable enough to fucking sleep. You're turning around to spit in the trash can all the time. You know what I mean? Or to get up to go and fucking
sucks.
spit up. It's fucking...
Yeah, my grandfather has to deal with that every day.
Oh, you got sleep apnea?
Something like that, yeah.
Damn.
And asthma. And plus asthma. Oh my god.
Asthma?
Eczema?
But anyways, so... Because we had brought the PlayStation... we had brought the PlayStation on this trip so we could play Black Ops, like, when we were, not out and about in San Antonio. Because basically the thing is that Riley's grandparents really didn't... They're, like, really old. So they didn't really want to do anything, like, past, like, a certain time. And we weren't old enough to drive yet, so it wasn't like we could fucking, like, take off into the night, you know what I mean? Like how we can now. But... So we were stuck there, so we brought the PlayStation, and I was watching Netflix, and I was trying to figure out what the fuck to watch, because it was 3 in the morning, I was like, fuck, I have to go to sleep, bruh, because if not, I'm going to be fucked tomorrow. And so I found this movie, it was like Midnight in Paris, and I was like, oh, that looks alright, and I watched the trailer, like, I looked it up on my phone, and I was like, what the fuck is this all about? And I saw the trailer, and I was like, oh shit, I have to watch this, let me put this shit on. And I ended up finding this fucking gem at like 3 in the morning in San Antonio while I was fucking sick. And at that instant, I fell in love. And like, I probably still have it in my phone. That same night was the first night that I watched it. Was the first time that I felt really inspired to write. And I started writing on my phone, like in my Apple Notes or whatever. I probably still have it. But I felt so like, I don't know. I was fucking inspired. I was ready to write my best-selling novel and shit, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm glad that I'm glad that I took a chance on that movie, and I fucking, said, you know what, let me try it, because it ended up being cool. And yeah, I did have the same moment that you did, Nathan, where you saw fucking Loki's dumbass as fucking Scott Fitzgerald. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I was like, what the hell? He's in it, and then Leah was in it. I was like, what the fuck? Marion Cotillard was in it. I was like, what the hell?
Marion Cotillard.
Yeah, I'll tell you how I've heard about the movie, but just never watched it. So my mom and my aunts were always like into movies like that, and I was kind of they invited me to watch it, but then my dad was the one that was like, no, that's a chick flick, and from there I'm like, okay.
What? Weak. That's not.
Yeah, so
mad. Or even if it is a chick flick, I fuck with chick flicks.
Because I guess that's not his thing, because he's more into like different shit, and like
Rambo,
what's it called?
First Blood.
Fucking yeah, something like what's an example? Fucking Triple X.
Oh my god, those are dumb movies.
Like the early 2000s movie, like Riddick, Predator,
Riddick. Fucking
real trap shit would make it look easy. But yeah, until like I got recommendations to watch it like over high school, I was like, yeah, I will, but just never had the time to. But then like when it became when you suggested it, I was like, I haven't
Now's
seen that.
The time. I remember
that was the time, and then I got a wake up call now.
Bruh.
A reality art check or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Reality check.
Because I can't, like, the people would tell me, Nathan, you gotta watch La La Land. I mean,
oh yeah, I want to watch La La Land.
I saw it, and I was like, oh, so it's like every other inspiring movie, but I think Midnight in Paris was like something really original, like something like that. But because obviously La La Land is like, it takes place of like people like becoming actors and stuff.
Yeah, I think that the
You know,
deal with
because it's always hard to do it or audition. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I'm
no,
done.
no, it's cool. It's cool. It's fucking. It's hard to tell when one person ends and where we're supposed to start. So it's like I get it, but I think the reason why it's so like inspiring, I guess, for us, and I think I could say the same for like a lot of artistic people, artistically inclined. I can't fucking speak. Artistically inclined people, um, is because I think the movie comes from a place of like true love for that type of artistry, for that type of literature, for that type of era. Basically, it's a love letter basically to the 1920s and to that era of artists and people like that. So for us, who we geek about fucking Chris Nolan and shit like that, and fucking Sofia Coppola and stuff like that, we do that shit now, but it's with current people, current people that are leading the fucking arts and shit like that,
Yeah.
So basically, when Woody Allen made this movie, he's basically opening up a conversation to us as like, you know what, peep this shit out, because I know the first time I saw it, I didn't know anything about Ernest Hemingway and fucking T.S. Eliot and fucking McLeish and all this shit and Gertrude Stein. I had no concept of it. I knew the names, but I just never got into it myself. And that this movie opened up that towards me, it made me want to look up Ernest Hemingway and stuff like that. And so whenever college English classes came into play, I was fucking on it. I was like fanboy number one. I was ready to talk about the 1920s, and like I would shoot for that to be my project or whatever come college. And like I just go on and on like how I fucking am doing right now, because it's just something that I can fucking gush over, and it's like I know a lot about it, and it's just fucking great.
Yeah, yeah.
It was also partially why everyone thought it was fucking weird, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, because they're just so ground leveled,
Well,
They
it's
don't
just
have
I saw myself as these kinds of people. I could see myself feeling the way they felt, wanting to get away from a place where they didn't feel they belonged to anymore, and trying to escape into themselves and into their art. And here's another thing. I don't know, Nathan. Have you read Great Gatsby, or at least you know the story, right?
Yeah, I've read it in I think high school, freshman year. I don't know if it's middle school, 8th grade.
Yeah, I had to read it fucking by myself, because by the time I got to Cy Falls, I had already missed the class where you read Great Gatsby.
Yeah, it's a really incredible story.
I fuck with it. It's very telling. Which is another thing. This is one of the reasons why I think F. Scott Fitzgerald might be my favorite author, is because his story of the Great Gatsby is it speaks to the times, right? Because Gatsby would be like how Fitzgerald is. He's kind of pining over a lost love, and in real life, his lost love could be Zelda, or at least the person that he thought she was, or sort of how it was in the beginning. Because if you know the history, Zelda and Scott Fitzgerald they didn't really get along too well. It was kind of a, I guess what by today's standards would be a toxic relationship, because it was just all over the place, and neither of them were very happy, but still they stuck by each other. And so I see the Great Gatsby as kind of like Gatsby sort of trying to reconcile the past, the past being like pre-war, the past being back when he and Zelda were like, young and in love and stuff like that. And so it's weird, because the movie has a sort of like those last lines of the book. I don't know why I said movie, but the last lines of the book are so fucking haunting, and like they ring so true about chasing the past. And I think there's something to be said there about how I think maybe fucking predictive that work was, because he wrote that book and then the fucking depression hit, you know what I mean? Somehow Fitzgerald tapped into that sort of like that energy, and he contributed to this sort of like foretelling of the Great Depression, because after the Roaring Twenties came the Great Depression, and everything went to fucking shit. All the good times, everything just went straight down the fucking toilet, and everyone was broke, everyone was homeless. There was just hard times all around, you know.
Yeah.
And so to read The Great Gatsby now, and to look at the way the world, or the USA, had become in the 30s, just after this golden age, it fits so perfectly that, you know what, they partied, and they you know, became extravagant in their own sort of like, in their own wealth, but they did it in a sort of way to run away from the war. Little did they know, all of this partying and all of this, you know, sort of celebration was all for naught, because, you know what, right fucking down the road of history is the Great Depression. And I don't know, there's something about that I find very interesting, you know. Dang, Nate, you left?
Oh, what the hell? Something happened.
Oh, tough. I'm gonna leave too.
I guess something happened. It says cannot use the content, cannot connect to the server to verify the license. If you activate this PS4 as your primary PS4, you can use your content even when the server is not available to activate the system.
Your fucking game sharing. Your game sharing fucking online account probably got compromised.
Oh. Hmm.
But then if that were true, you wouldn't be in the chat. But anyway, I don't know. I think it's like, it's interesting to look at how things have gone, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they all partied, and they all partied to forget, and they partied to get away in Paris and stuff like that. You know, they were running away. And then the Great Depression happens, and it's just another smack of reality in their face, you know? The war fucking changed them, but the Great Depression also fucking broke them down pretty good too, because now everything's gone to shit. And the thing is that Scott Fitzgerald died pretty young. He died in his 40s, I think. And I think it was from tuberculosis or something. I'll have to look it up. But he died pretty young.
I don't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, he died in his 40s. Let me look this up. He died, when he was 44.
Oh man.
Yeah. And what was it? Let me see. I'm like scrolling down. God damn it. Why is there not a fucking tab for this? Because I know he had some sort of sickness. It was because of his sickness. But anyways, like Gil Pender in the movie, Scott Fitzgerald went back to Hollywood to work on movies, and that's what he did until his death. And the last book that he had tried to write was called The Last Tycoon, and it's unfinished. He died before he can finish it. But all in all, apparently, officially, he has about 4 complete works and 1 incomplete, which is the Tycoon, The Last Tycoon. Oh, he died of a heart attack. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, he died of a heart attack.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm looking it up right now.
And then fucking
sucks.
Bro, things went downhill because apparently Zelda Fitzgerald she had undiagnosed mental illness, I guess at the time. So whenever she died in a fire in a mental hospital.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's just, I think I can relate to sort of the feelings of sadness during, you know, his golden age in the 20s, because, you know, they're happy, they're having a good time and all this shit, but inside there's a sadness there, you know what I mean? And I think I can relate to that, you know? You kind of go through life and it's kind of like, I don't know, you try to make it the best, and there are the good times, but there's this like sort of sadness that persists, you know what I mean? And not to get into other shit, because I deal with my own sort of shit, you know, everyone does. You deal with it, we all deal with it, but I can relate to that, and I can relate to Fitzgerald in particular, his stories about these characters who kind of just try to outgrow their sadness and sort of forget it, you know.
Yeah.
But wow, what what a movie! I love that movie. What's your rating, Nathan?
My rating, definitely a good solid. Whoa.
Dang, no fucking sound effect.
Yeah, I got it right here, boys and girls.
Go ahead and load it up. Jeez. Oh my god. What do you have that on? Like, you say you have it on speed dial?
Yeah, my sound things on my app.
Bruh.
I save them.
Well, anyways, people, I feel like this was
Yeah, I can't get in the game. Something's going. Yeah,
tough.
go ahead.
No, what's whatever. That was basically Midnight in Paris. I think we can like. I'm comfortable leaving it off right there because I feel like cause I could have gone more, but I don't want to bore everybody with history. If anyone is interested, there's a good documentary on YouTube called The Lost Generation. It's like a re-upload of like an A&E special that aired on TV, but it's really good. It talks about everybody like from
Isn't themes on Premiere?
like it talks about all the people that were involved in Lost Generation, how they got there in World War II or World War I and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm fine with like leaving it off. I feel comfortable leaving it off right there. Nathan, any objection?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it isn't about the party. It's about what you're celebrating.
Wise words.
And I don't have
always.
any. And I don't have any. I was trying to come up with something extravagant, but I think I got it down right now. It says restore licenses. Apparently,
okay.
I think. Yeah, it's working. But I don't have any other movie suggestions other than that. I don't know if you have any recommendations. Oh, Valley Girl is one from Valencia.
Oh, I'd want to see that movie. I've wanted to see that for a minute. We can watch that Valley Girl. My boy.
Okay. Yeah, Valley Girl is the next one.
Okay.
Nick Cage, punk.
Nicolas Cage. I first found out about that movie from a punk rock music video. It was a song called "These Are the Quotes from Our Favorite '80s Movies," and it's by the band The Bouncing Souls. That was the first time I saw it because it's in the intro, and like I was like, "What the fuck? Nick Cage is like a punk dude in the movie."
Oh, sick.
I gotta see this shit. But anyways, so that was a podcast. I don't know if you guys are interested in this. I'd really recommend getting into it. I mean, there's so much to get into. I recommend watching the movie, but for those of you who want to get deeper, there's so much detail and there's so much to these people's lives. Like Salvador Dali's a crazy
It's very
one.
philosophical and in terms of like literature and like you said and everything and the arts.
Yeah.
In Paris. It makes you want to stay. It speaks to you.
Because there's a whole fucking thing about Salvador Dali. He was a fucking crazy ass.
Yeah,
he had so many problems and she was crazy. The stuff that he did, that he used to do, especially with females. Like there's one allegation. I'll say this one that I read that he used to like to beat it and like nut on girls' stomachs and like lick it up or whatever. He was really fucking weird. He was like. Like she was crazy. But anyways, I'd recommend getting into it. A lot of these people are very interesting, and their lives and their works are they match the same. You know what I mean? They're all very interesting. And anyway, I don't know. Nathan, last words.
When life gives you no, I'm just kidding. Gotta make lemonade. You gotta make lemonade out of lemons.
All right, so there we go. And
hit the outro.
I changed it, so now it's just a portion of the video, Bitter Tongues, the music video that we did. And if you enjoy the music and the outro, I have the full video on my channel. It's just Quo Vadis Bitter Tongues. But anyway, catch y'all later. Eat my ass.